Welcome back, Saber enthusiasts. My name is Nick Nitro, and I am the Lord of the Crucible. Today we've got, well, not technically an unboxing, but a reveal of my Christmas present this year. We got a wonderful saber to show you, so without further ado, I already had to open it up, but let's have a look. Now, the way I've got it set up right here is exactly how it arrived from Crimson Dawn. This is a Crimson Dawn lightsaber, but apparently the description says there's some assembly required. Let's have a look. Ta-da! Here we are. This is the Tsukenshido. This is one of their katana style lightsabers, and as I said, some assembly required. Not a whole lot. It's just the Tsuba guard. Just needs to be screwed in. And there you go. All set. I'm going to go ahead and put a blade plug in here just to be on the safe side. This is the accessory pack that it came with. So, in here we've got, of course, all of your extra screws. Your charging cable. The Allen key, which is going to come in real handy, and a little instruction guide. And that actually helps out a lot because apparently there has been a slight update to their basic core. Was the V6, it is now the V6.1. They've made one slight change there. In previous iterations, if you have a V6 core, you actually have music that you can play and swing your saber to. In this case, they added an additional feature but took away the music. Now, one slight difference is I was told that they didn't get the order exactly right. This was supposed to be the Shadow Warrior version of the Tsukenshido, which is their all black. They also have, I believe, the Imperial, which is the silver version, and this is the Honor Guard. Now, I was not expecting the Honor Guard, and I'm really pleasantly surprised by it. I didn't expect this kind of copper bronze tone to look so nice, but it does. Now, there are 9 sound fonts on here. We'll go through those in just a little bit. But I already did set it to a Darksaber sound font. In my opinion, that's the one that just works best with this saber. So, here we go.
Power on.
Now, unlike the Crimson Core, you don't get a nice startup sound, you just get the power on. And when it powers off, there's no sound whatsoever. You do have smooth swing. So you do have smooth swing. Most of your sounds sound decent. But what I have noticed on this one is that your clash effects do seem to be a bit muted. And after playing around with this, it's something in the sound font. It may be the way it's mixed. I don't know why it turned out that way on these, but it still works fine. But what is really interesting from this, aside from the Tsuba guard, which, I'm going to take this off for a moment, because there's something really interesting about this. I was expecting something like this to be plastic, and that's all metal. That is a solid piece there. So it slips on nice and easy. There we go. You have a full emitter extension here. And you also have an additional 2-inch extension by the pommel, which, interestingly enough, can be switched to pretty much anywhere on the saber. If you'd like, you can just shorten the saber and have sort of a wakizashi style. Or you can even change the location of the extension if you wanted to give a little bit more depth for your blade to secure with. But you can put your finger grooves far lower if you like to grip towards the pommel down here. But this thing is long. With the extension in place, regardless of where you put it, this is easily almost a full 3-hand hilt. So I'm going to put this back in the original configuration. Now, I did try, running the sound fonts without the extension in here. I thought maybe it was acting as kind of a mute that was dulling some of the sounds, but in my experience that was not the case. So, quick run through the sound fonts. We have the Dark Saber, which you just heard.
Emperor.
And we have the Emperor.
Scavenger. Princess. Rage Knight.
The Rage Knight.
The High Ground.
The High Ground, which I believe is a Kenobi sound font.
The Count. The Fallen. The Dark Lord.
The Dark Lord. That actually has the better clash sounds out of what I've heard so far.
The Dark Sword.
Here we go. Okay. Now, normally, After 2 flashes of your power button here, you go into your color tuning, which will slowly cycle through all of your colors, very slowly. But it gives you a way to fine-tune the color you're looking to get. Now, when they took out the soundtracks, they gave a different way to actually select your colors. You hold it for 3 flashes and let go before it shuts off. And it will go through a stepped color change pattern. So instead of having to wait for it to cycle through every single color variation, you can get close to what you're looking for here, select it, and then fine-tune it a little later on. Now we also have a couple of other functions here. Some fairly typical functions for an LGT-based lightsaber, like most of your Crimson Dawn. So, if you hold a button in for 1 flash,
Volume high.
you have your volume adjustment.
Volume low. Mute.
So you have high, low, and mute. If you hold it in for 2 flashes while it's powered off like this,
Unstable.
you have your unstable blade effect. And
Pulse.
you have a pulse effect. And then finally,
Steady.
you have your steady blade.
Emperor.
And then 3 flashes takes you to your next sound font. If you hold the button in for 13 seconds, that will go ahead and power off the entire saber, putting it into deep sleep mode. Now, like usual, if you just start from an already deactivated blade, it is going to take you into the next sound font before it goes into deep sleep. So what I usually recommend is igniting the saber and then starting your press to shut down the entire saber, like this. And there you go. Like I said, this has no shutdown sound, so it just shuts off quietly. Even when it times out from sitting around, you don't hear any sounds. It just quietly shuts down. This did come with a mid-grade blade. I do kind of want to see where the balance point can be. You know, I found something interesting. You can kind of adjust it here. Now this is the mid-grade blade, and instead of 1 blade retention screw, they do have 2 of them on this saber. But they're directly opposite of each other, and I'm not certain how I feel about that. That to me creates kind of like a pivot point that the saber can just work its way around, just kind of back and forth as you're swinging it. I would actually prefer either just a single one or maybe 3 in a ring to kind of hold everything centered. And the balance point on this is like right there, right in front of the guard, which I think is really nice. But you can kind of adjust that. Okay, we'll pull that out. And I want to move that 2-inch extension back up to the front like we did earlier. Because I suspect, well, not much of a suspicion, it is going to give us quite a bit more depth to the blade socket. I mean, it is going to sink way in there. This is going to be a way to shorten your overall blade length by about 2 inches without having to cut anything. but it also shifts the entire core from up here down to about here. This puts more weight to the back and may actually affect the balance point just a little bit. Okay, so it's still, ooh. It is not by much. It puts the balance point either right here where the guard meets the rest of the body, or right on this edge. It's just sort of somewhere in here, because this is a slightly rounded guard. But it does technically bring the balance point far closer to where I personally want it, and gives you a little bit of a shorter blade. Now that gives you a really deep blade socket. Even if there was only one blade retention screw here, I don't care how hard you hit it, this blade should not for any reason get leveraged out of the saber. So I haven't made up my mind. I may test it in this configuration, but I kind of want to test it the way they sent it to me, which would have the extension back towards the base. Now, this is a mid-grade blade. I will not be testing it with the mid-grade blade. I already know what will happen to that. It will fold in half. It will fall apart. If you have any doubt about that, check out that video. I'll put a card right up here. That was for one of my first testing videos, and that is the Crimson Dawn Banshee with a mid-grade blade. I will be running a Crimson Dawn heavy grade blade through the testing. This is already held up once. What I want to find out is how much more it can take. Can it take just the blade another run through the entirety of the Crucible, at least as far as the blade's concerned? And if the answer is yes, I'm going to be very happy about that. So, in the meantime, I am Nick Nitro, bringing you another lightsaber from Crimson Dawn, the Tsukenshido. But it's going to have to wait a little bit before it gets tested. There's one other saber ahead of it. Till then, I'm Nick Nitro, here with Rocky and Penny, and we will see you in the Crucible.